Okay, I guess this is the part where I get controversial. Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. Before I get into the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. Follow my social media if you want to. This is my Instagram. Today I'm going to be talking about Netflix's new show, #BlackAF. So, I watched this show in its entirety in maybe 2 sittings because it's pretty short. Each episode is 30 minutes. You can get through it really quickly. I enjoyed the show. I know everyone's gonna be really upset with me. I enjoyed it. And then I go on the internet and I find out that everybody hated it. Most of the people making the reviews about it hated the show or found it to be very problematic. And I went and I watched a bunch of the reviews and I also researched the show. So basically BlackAF is supposedly the show that Kenya originally wanted to make when he was making Black-ish, but couldn't really make because of like the certain guidelines and standards of whatever network it was on that made it had to be more PG. So he couldn't like show the swearing and it couldn't be like, I guess, as raw as he wanted it to be, whatever. So a lot of people are upset because it's so similar to Black-ish and it's the same story over and over again. So BlackAF is based off of Kenya Barris's real family, which he also is starring in the show. He's actually acting. Kenya Barris's real life family does look like that. And a lot of people are upset because there's not a lot of dark-skinned people in the show, which is understandable because representation is very important. And historically, Kenya has not really casted a lot of dark-skinned people. That being said, he has pretty much exclusively made shows that are representing his family, which, okay, I guess this is the part where I get controversial. I don't think the problem is Kenya Barris. I think the problem is the entire Black community's expectation for Kenya Barris to represent the entire Black community. And also, I think Kenya needs to, I think the show is mistitled, for sure, and I think he needs to chill with the whole I represent the Black community thing, because he's not. He's representing his facet and his understanding and his experience, which people should be allowed to write what they know. I think that's fine. I don't think they should be marketing it as like the holy grail of Blackness, which I guess he is sort of done. But I also think the Black community can't really expect him to do that because he's just one person. So, and the Black experience isn't monolithic, so not everybody's gonna relate to his experience. And watching the reviews, like, a lot of people are upset, like, oh, I can't relate to that at all. This looks nothing like my family. They act nothing like my family, which is all, like, that's fair. Like, people want to see things that they, like, can relate to. But I don't, like, he's allowed to write what he knows, though. It's like, it's almost like if he were to not do that, it would be, like, ingenuine, in a sense. I think the issue is more, like, instead of the conversation being so Kenya Barris didn't represent the entirety of the Black community correctly, it's more, well, what is happening to these other stories that would represent or resonate with more Black people? Because as much as you want to hate on Kenya Barris, you can't expect one man to represent everybody. That is my opinion. I have seen no one with this opinion online, but like, think of it this way. You don't expect white TV and filmmakers to make shows or movies that represent all of white people. Why? Because there's so much content coming from white people. So that one person doesn't need to represent everyone, because if they represent their experience, well, this person will represent this experience that resonates with this kind of person, this kind of white person, this kind of, like, you know what I'm saying? But because there's such a limited amount of Black creators, Kenya Barris has like all of this responsibility and expectation on him to create something that resonates with everyone, which is not really fair. I think you're overestimating his power and the power of black creators in a white boardroom and the amount of them. I think the conversation surrounding Black AF is missing the element of, well, what is happening to these stories that would resonate more with a lot of black people? They're probably being brought close to, I don't know, close to what, I don't know a lot about film, but I'm assuming there are people making these stories and they're getting rejected because the boardrooms that give these stories the green light are most definitely mostly white. So I don't know how to fix that, but it's not by attacking one man for telling his story. I just don't think that's the problem. Everyone's like, we don't need to see the content, same content over and over again, which is like, it broadens the conversation to like, well, should he be delivering more? Should he be trying to represent parts of the black community and parts of the black experience that he doesn't understand? What would that look like? Would that look good? Would that be successful? Or would it look fake, ingenuine? Like, you know what I mean? Like, think of something you don't understand and trying to write it. I mean, I get, and I don't even know a lot about his life, but like, I don't know what his past life is about. I know that Mixed-ish is supposed to be based on his wife's childhood, and obviously Blackish and Black AF are supposed to be based on like his current life. I don't know what his childhood was like. Maybe he should have made a show about his childhood, blah, blah, blah. That being said, it's his creative vision, it's his money. He can tell his own story. And you can't really be mad at somebody for telling their own story. No matter how many times in different ways they want to do it, if he didn't get to make the original show he wanted to make with Blackish and Netflix gives him $100 million to make the show he wants to make, let him make it. Let him tell his own story the way he wants to tell it. Part of the conversation that was kind of like, didn't sit right with me, I guess, is just like that the show wasn't black enough. Which I understand in terms of melanin what that means, but a lot of people's issues with it was that, you know, it's a really rich family and the family life doesn't look like the typical black family. And a lot of people were talking about how the mom, Joya, does not fit the regular black mom figure, and it's just like, I think there's a danger in a single story and expecting a single story. Like I said before, like, the black experience is not a monolithic experience, and just because they're rich doesn't mean they're not black, and just because, like, you can be rich and black, it's not common. I mean, I kind of thought the title was supposed to be sort of ironic or like a little bit of satire, because if you watch the show, like, you'll see they address all these things of like, well, what does it mean to be black, and like Joya going through a crisis because she's biracial and trying to overcompensate by acting extra black. And I think that's why they titled it Black AF, kind of as like a joke, if that makes sense. Not like a hit the nail on the head, this is what it means to be black. I don't think he would have done that, because that's not really his humor. Like, his humor isn't hit the nail on the head, obvious, this is black. Like, that's not anything he's ever given us. It's like sarcastic, nuanced-ish, mixed-ish, grown-ish, black-ish. He literally remade Blackish and just needed a different title. But I still think it was mistitled because it made a lot of people expect something that was like a more stereotypical or relatable black experience, which, like, no matter what race you are probably not gonna relate to his lifestyle because they're rich AF. It should have been called Rich AF. Here's what I will say. I think instead of looking at him as like a black creator icon and like putting all the expectation on him, we need to be more so talking about why he has to be that black creator icon. Because him and like Tyler Perry have been like the more successful black creators, so they have a lot of responsibility on their shoulders, but I think there's so many stories that have not been told with both of them combined. I think the black community is quicker to relate to a Tyler Perry film than they are to a Kenya Barris show. However, even with those two creators, and there's more obviously, but like I feel with the content we've gotten, we're still not touching a lot of stories. However, I appreciate Kenya for talking more about the nuances, especially in regards to being biracial. Obviously, because I'm biracial myself. I understand why people are upset or feel it was not really cool of him to call the show Black AF and then have a bunch of light-skinned characters. I agree. Once again, this show is mistitled. However, how many shows about being biracial do we have? I can think of 2. And both of them are Kenya Barris. I haven't seen everything in the entire world. I would love if somebody in the comments has more shows about being biracial, not about a light-skinned person who's like the token black person in a show, but about the biracial experience, about being half and half. If somebody else knows more shows about that, please drop them in the comments because I would love to see them. But right now, from the top of my head, there are 2. And both of them are Kenya's. So can like we just like let them exist? Because here's the thing, if this show isn't black enough, and if biracial people are not black enough, but we are also not white, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to watch? But yeah, off the top of my head, from what I've seen, there are 2 shows, or I guess 3. I haven't watched a lot of Black-ish because I don't know. It wasn't really my thing. I love mixed-ish though, and I really enjoyed watching Black AF. And I loved Joy's character, and I loved watching the struggle she went through, and I was like, I can relate to that. Feeling like you need to overcompensate sometimes because the black community is like, you're not black enough because your skin is light. I think that's something important that we need to talk about and something that is valuable and should not just be dismissed because it's not in the white category or the black category. However, it shouldn't be called Black AF because then you're going to expect it to be in the black category, and there's not very many shows like it. Off the top of my head, there are only Kenya shows. So can we just like let them exist? Because that's an important conversation to have, even if it's not something that is super relatable or represents the stereotypical black, like everyone's experience as a black person is different. There are so many commonalities, of course, but we just can't expect one man to represent all of our struggles in one show or in 4 shows. In any of his shows. In his lifetime, he is not going to be able to represent the stories of every single black person. The conversation should be, what is happening to these other stories that are not being told? Because there's gotta be people writing more stories about the black experience, but we're seeing so little shows that claim to even touch upon the black experience and then attacking those shows because we don't see themselves in them. But there's definitely more shows that are being written and rejected because the Green Light Committee is white. So instead of attacking one of the very few black people who has made it through that system and got his foot in the door, I don't know, we need to be having more conversations about how to get more people through the door so that more people can relate to the shows on television. With that, he should not be claiming to represent the entirety of the black community and be like, I'm a black creator and all my stuff is black AF, blah, blah, blah. That was bad marketing on his part, because it made everybody expect to see themselves in the show as if everyone has the same black experience, which we do not. And it's also like, what does it mean to be black? I just saw it as like his struggles kind of trying to hang on to his black identity in a completely white dominated field, being in a place and a circumstance that is kind of not stereotypically black, but still trying to kind of hang on to that identity and navigating what that even means. Which kind of brings us to the question, what does it mean to be black? If he's not acting black enough, then what does it mean to be black? What does it mean to act black? What does it mean to talk black? Like, I think these are just interesting conversations that the show kind of made me think of, which I kind of thought was the point of the show, but everyone kind of just wanted to see something they related to, which is also valid, but there are probably creators making those stories and they're just not getting pushed through the boardroom because it's a white ass boardroom. So that's a different problem. That's where the conversation is. It's not tisk tisk tisk, we're tired of hearing about your family. It's, why are we expecting his family to represent all of our families? Oh, because he's the only one on TV. Oh, that's a problem. Why is he the only one on TV? That's not his fault. But the show is mistitled, and it caused people to expect something that they weren't gonna get. So I don't really have answers. I just have questions. Most people may not agree with me here, and that's okay. Anyways, I just had to talk about that really quickly. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. And have a beautiful day.